All right, Jose, thank you for your email. And yeah, you wanted to know about enlightenment and meditation. So I'll share with you what I know about that. And I actually spent a lot of time on that in my life. And when I was super engaged in that process, I studied, read a lot, studied a lot, went to a lot of different teachers, and I was just really interested in it. So at one point in my life, I got really interested in meditation and enlightenment. And I'd heard about this enlightenment deal, and I wanted to see if it was real. And I came to all that from suffering too. So I had a pretty hard childhood, and I could tell you stories that would make you cry because they've made me cry. They made me cry quite a bit in my life, and I'm glad to say that I'm in a really different place now. So just as a testament to the power of change and the potential which resides within all of us, there is a way to go from a place which isn't so good to a place which is much better. And it takes effort. And so I think of that as cultivating the garden of life. And if you have a garden, right, just to use a sort of naturalistic nature analogy, if you have a garden, if you want a good garden, it takes effort to have a good garden. You have to cultivate it. You have to plant the right seeds. You have to pull out the things which are grown which aren't good for the garden. And sometimes it takes many years until you realize a crop. It could take 5 years before you literally have almonds. From the time you plant an almond tree until the time you get almonds, it literally takes 5 years, if I'm remembering that correctly. It's like 4 or 5 years. And so to cultivate a good garden takes effort. And if you don't put in that effort, your garden becomes infused with weeds and it goes to seed, and you don't realize a good crop. And so the first thing is that life takes effort. If you want to have a good life, if you want to have a good garden, you have to plant the right seeds, and you have to put in the effort to harvest a great crop. And life takes effort, and that means you exercise, you feed your mind and your body a nutritious diet. So you give your body and your mind good food, and you exercise, and that's like a big that's everything right there. Is just making sure that you give yourself good nutrition. Your body, that's the fuel that your body runs on. Eat good fuel. Give yourself good fuel. Eat good food, and give your mind good nutrition instead of watching bad movies or just listening to pop music on the radio. Some of that which can be really negative messages, right? Like don't have this, don't have that, cussing, want to pop this person, whatever. Get more ladies, right? It's like, listen to stuff that feeds you good nutrition, because, there's this one quote, the mind becomes dyed in the color of its thoughts, or something like that. I think that's Marcus Aurelius. The mind becomes dyed in the color of its thoughts. And so as you expose yourself to good stuff, that starts to seep in. And over time, you find yourself it becomes part of who you are. So the mind is kind of like a DVR, digital video recorder, and it's always recording stuff, and then just plays stuff back. So if you had a bad childhood, that's what got recorded, and that stuff gets played back. If you've been watching crappy stuff and listening to crappy things and feeding yourself materialistic, self-absorbed, self-interested. Wow, it's a jet. Messages. Holy cow. Sounds like it's flying right over the house. Oh, they are flying right over the house. There they go. I'll wait for it to pause. I'll pause while they go over. I could hear those fighter planes. That's a line from a U2 song. So that's the DVR, which is the mind, always playing things back. So you want to feed yourself a good diet. And so some of the things that I've really valued in the past is I really valued talks on Buddhism. And Buddhism is the belief of no beliefs. And we'll talk about this in a second, because that's going to be what enlightenment is. And it's the belief of no beliefs. And so it's the religion of no religion. And to really be a Buddhist is to not be a Buddhist. And so there's all these paradoxes on the path to enlightenment. And so you're just trying to figure out how much to share there. But all these paradoxes on the path to enlightenment. And that's what Buddhism is really about. It's the belief of no beliefs, the religion of no religion. And to be a Buddhist is to not be a Buddhist. When you truly get the essence of the teachings, you realize you're not trying to get a new thing that you're acquiring to add to your personality. I am this, I am that. I am a Jeep guy. I am a rugged outdoor individual, right? That's just ego. That's like building up your ego and identity, and I look this way, and let me tell you about how great I am, and I'm this kind of person. You're putting together a storefront to sell something to other people, right? Because there's the idea that we've got to be a certain way to be accepted, and Buddhism, religion, any belief, it's not about taking on a new belief. It's about letting go of beliefs. And that's really what the entire path is about. It's about letting go of beliefs and seeing through the beliefs which we overlay on everything. I'll talk more about that in a second. So I really got a lot of value in terms of feeding my own mind a nutritious diet. I really got a lot of value out of a website called dharmaseed.org. And I'm recording this with my camera and not my computer, so I can't show it to you. But you just type in Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, seed.org. Dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A, seed.org, and it'll take you there. And you can click on teachers. And some of the teachers that I really liked, the most sort of like introductory, palatable one would be Jack Cornfield with a K. And he's super great. He tells really good stories. And when you get tired of him, you can listen to Howard Cohn, C-O-H-N. He's a good storyteller. Eugene Cash, C-A-S-H, also talks good wisdom. And then I'm just looking here for some of the other ones. Sylvia Boorstein, a nice grandmotherly kind of quality to her. And Sharon Salzberg is really nice. And then I'm just looking here for Wes Nisker. He's funny, but pretty light on the depth stuff. And that's Wes Nisker. And Tara Brach has got a nice loving quality to her if you're needing some of that love stuff. Like, these are all people I've listened to. I just, listen to them when I work out or when I drive. And I'm just looking for one more here, this guy's name, because he's real nice. And Kitty Sorrow, K-I-T-T-I-S-A-R-O. Kitty Sorrow has a nice sort of southern quality to him. And really enjoyed his talks too. So check out dharmaseed.org and some of those teachers. And then when you've kind of like gotten value from them, by the way, Jack Cornfield's book, A Path with Heart and The Wise Heart, are really good books. And when you've kind of gotten enough value from those people, you can check out the teacher Adyashanti. And so it's spelled Adyashanti, Adyashanti. So check out Adyashanti because he's fully realized. He's enlightened. That's from my experience and my assessment. That's my perspective. Don't know if it's true, but that's my perspective. All right. So that's feeding your mind a good diet and the fact that life takes effort. And you need to put in the effort and you need to get up and do it. And if you're depressed, if you're anxious, man, you just got to force yourself, like get going, like every day, work out, exercise hard for an hour. That's going to be huge. And then feed yourself this diet of goodness, good nutrition. And then that's going to start bending your mind, the DVR, which is your mind, into the right direction and start replaying the right things in your head to take you to a better place. So that's the first step. Next thing I'll tell you about is enlightenment. So there's a lot of different people who talk about enlightenment in different ways, and none of them talked about it in the way which I feel is the most clear and direct. All right. One more thing I'll say in terms of resources. There's one more guy, and he is. Hold on one sec. I gotta look it up. North Fork Meditation Center. He's got meditation centers all over the world, and I believe this guy was also enlightened. I never met him in person, but he has put more meditation centers around the world than anywhere else, and it's totally free to go to his meditation centers. And it's I'm just looking for his name here. Hold on. It is Goenka, Goenka, Goenka. And so he has some nice talks to listen to online. Goenka, he's got good talks, and you might check out Goenka Meditation Centers, SNGOENKA, S.N. Goenka. Check out his meditation centers, and at some point, definitely worth your time just to drop into those in a heavy way. All right. So the point of meditation and enlightenment. Enlightenment is dying to your egoic self. And I came to the door of enlightenment. I came to the door of enlightenment, but I didn't cross over because it literally felt to me like I was dying, and fear held me back. So the life force was flowing out of my body, and it was flowing out a drain that was right in my belly button area, in my stomach. And so if I went through that process, if I'd gone down that drain, I might have either completely died, but, from what I've read and know from other things, from reading and listening to other people, is that when that occurs, and nobody else explained it like this, so maybe this is only my experience, but when you die to the self, then you lose all of your ego and, all of your thoughts about, I am this, I am that, I'm a Jeep guy. I grew up this way. This is my childhood. It's like the DVR just gets reformatted. And so that's what enlightenment is. It's actually an actual process. And it's not something that I created. It's like I didn't make it happen. I created the conditions for it to happen, and then it happened. And I tried to get back to it, and I haven't been able to get back to it. And then my son was born, and it's like, I'm done. I'm going to spend that time with my kids and providing for my family. I don't have any more bandwidth to pursue that path. And kids are a great practice in and of itself. So if it's meant to be, it'll be, and if not, then whatever. So that's enlightenment, is dying to the self. And so one thing that you could practice as a spiritual practice, which I think would be helpful, is to, I'm just going to make sure I haven't gone too long, make sure my camera's still recording, cool, is to actually just practice dying. And just picture yourself as dead. And that sounds kind of weird, but to truly live, you have to die. And that's another one of the paradoxes on the path. And in Zen, sometimes they'll practice this and they'll say things like, die on the pillow. Die on the pillow. And so that's the ultimate goal, is you want to die to your egoic self. And there's a famous guy in India, enlightened, let me see if I can find it, see his name, enlightened Indian mountain. Let's see, he went to live on a mountain like so many of them. I can't remember his name right now. But what happened for him is his uncle passed away, and he was like 12 years old, so he laid down on the ground, thought, what does it mean to be dead? And he thought, well, I wouldn't have this body, and I wouldn't have this, and I wouldn't have that. And then he actually did go through the dying experience, the enlightenment experience, and then he was enlightened. And so that's how it happened for him. So the way it happened for me is I was at a Goenka meditation retreat, and I felt completely worn out and exhausted, and just like, like it just was like, man, I just like I had nothing left in me. Nothing left in me. And that's a great sign when you get to that point, apparently. And, and even at the time, I don't know if I was aware of that at the time or not, but I just had that sense of like, I just like, wow, geez, I can't go on. And just like completely like just letting go of effort anymore and trying. And here's another one of the paradoxes. When you no longer want it, then you could have it. And so I got to that point where I was just ready to let go. I was done, and that's really what it is you're no longer fighting, you're no longer trying to make it happen. It's complete surrender. And so I laid down, I was laying in the bed, and I had a sheet over me, and then it just kind of occurred to me, this is what it'll be like when I'm in my coffin. I had my hands across my chest, and I didn't think to get in that position, but when I was in that position, I thought, this is what I'd like to be, this is what it's like when I'm dead. And then things can get really expansive, almost like you feel this great sense of expansiveness. And I felt like I was walking, like I was just moving through the molecules of my body and my existence. And then that hole opened, and the life force started to flow out of me. Wherever it had left is literally like a fluid flowing out of me. Wherever it was left, I felt dead. And so that life force, what is the force which animates all life? And it's, for me, my speculation and my sense is that it's the same force for everything. And so the life force which animates this body And the life force which animates that body, whoever you are watching this on the other end, is the exact same life force. And that's where we have that oneness. We are all like the strawberry plants, which on the surface seem separate, but underneath the roots are all intertwined for each plant. We are all the same, force, just different incarnations. And then we put thoughts over, this life force and ideas and beliefs. And, I'm a Christian, they're Muslims, and, I believe this, they believe that. And, if your beliefs get fierce enough, then we're right, you're wrong, you guys are heathens and sinners, and we have the truth, right? And we need to eradicate all those people who are challenging our beliefs and corrupting the truth and, staining our culture, right? You start to get all these beliefs, and then, you go kill each other. And so there's this great story of this teacher in Thailand, it's been a while since I've thought about this stuff. Let me see his name. Thailand meditation teacher, Jack Kornfield. It was Jack Kornfield's teacher. And just looking to see if it says anything about his teacher. Just a second, I'm looking it up here. Ajahn Chah. There we go, Ajahn Chah. And so Ajahn Chah had this story where a Western monk left his monastery where they're all working. And a couple months later, she came back and she converted to Christianity. And she was telling all the other monks, hey, Buddhism's not the right way. There's this thing about Christianity, and all y'all is going to burn in hell unless you accept, Jesus as your personal savior and do these things, and you're studying the wrong thing. And so all the other monks got a little disturbed. Here was this really dedicated, serious female monk, who left, and, she found Christianity. So they came to Ajahn Chah, and they were like, Ajahn Chah, are we all going to burn in hell? Is she right? And Ajahn Chah said, yeah, maybe she's right. And he kind of laughed. And then all the other monks remembered, like, oh yeah, just more beliefs, right? It's just more beliefs. And so it's really about the belief of no belief. That's what it's all about. And all right, so that's the experience of enlightenment, going towards death. And so what's the point of meditation? The point of meditation, and I'm going to teach this to you right now. All right, so right now, I want you to feel what the feeling is on the bottom of your foot. Feel what the feeling is on the bottom of your right foot, the bottom of your right foot. Okay, you feeling that? All right, so what you just did is you took your awareness and you placed it on a certain point, and you became aware of a certain thing. And so you're learning to place your awareness somewhere else. I just had you place it on the bottom of your foot. And what you want to do is you want to detach your awareness from your thought, okay? You want to detach your awareness from your thought. And by taking your awareness and learning to place it elsewhere, you're learning to control your awareness. You're learning to no longer just have your awareness go wherever it wishes to go, run nilly-willy like an untrained stallion on your farm. You're starting to tame that stallion. And you're starting to say, I want you to do this, I want you to do that. You're taking your awareness and learning how to place it somewhere. And so when you place it somewhere other than your thought, that you're starting to separate from thought. And so it doesn't matter what kind of meditation you do. You could focus on a candle, you could focus on a mandala, you could chant a mantra, you could do awareness scanning where you're going, point by point around your body and focusing on something else. You could focus on the breath, you could focus on a feeling in your chest. You want to take your awareness and be the master of your awareness. You want to be the one telling your awareness where to go and what to focus on. And by focusing on something else, you're separating it from thought. So it's not that thoughts go away, but thoughts will become like a noise in the background, which is like an air conditioner running. You're just no longer paying attention to it. You're no longer paying attention to that air conditioner running. Who cares? That air conditioner can run all day. I'm doing this other thing. And so you'll hear thoughts like, oh, those bastards are going to try to, and you're just like, whatever, let me focus over here, or like, I really don't think should I wear, am I looking good enough? Is my, whatever. And you just get peace and equanimity, like the mind chatter, all the DVR of everything it's been exposed to, running, playing, telling you all this stuff. You're like, and then after a while, that chattering, the mind realizes, oh, it's not doing any good, and it calms down and goes away. So you're developing the ability to not have thought be as important by placing your awareness somewhere else. I would do Vipassana meditation. That's what I did, which was just focus on my breath. And then I'd also focus kind of on the feeling in my body. I just sort of go where my awareness wanted to go other than, or where I wanted to take my awareness other than my thought. I'd realize I was attached to thought again, thinking some story, and then I'd just come back to the breath, let me stay focused on the breath. I was kind of loose about it. That worked for me. And sometimes, you'll get a teacher who will say, you can't do it that way. You need to do this. And what you realize is I've become attached to doing it my own way. And I have to release doing it that way. And I have to do it in this really regimented way just because, I'm not going to believe the thought that I'm going to do it this way. And so you have to give up wanting to do it your way. So part of meditation is letting your mind have temper tantrums. You're going to do the exact opposite of what you've always done. Instead of being busy, you're going to be still. Instead of looking outward, you're going to look inward. And you're going to sit still with your eyes shut and do nothing. And the mind is going to freak the F out. The mind's going to freak out. And it'll be like a fish that's been taken out of water. It'll be on the dock, flip-flopping, having a tantrum. And you just have to let the mind have its tantrum. I'm not going to do your bidding anymore. Have your tantrum. You're not going to get what you want. It's like having a little 3-year-old. It's like scream all you want. That's making it less likely that we're going to get up. It's making it less likely that you're going to get the ice cream, and then the mind has all of its tantrums. It's the wild stallion bucking and kicking, and then eventually it calms down and it realizes it's got a new master, and the new master is resolved and calm in its discipline of what we're going to do with this energy and this resource, how we're going to harness it and use it. And so that's what meditation is. You sit, you're still, you freak out in your mind, and you just focus on something else, and you let the mind freak out. You just let the mind freak out. So that's the first step, is just like realizing that thoughts are bullcrap, and I'm not going to pay attention to them anymore. I'm going to place my awareness somewhere else. Thoughts are a film we place over reality. You're not experiencing reality directly. You're perceiving partial reality, part of reality, and then you're overlaying it with all these thoughts. And you're saying this is good, that's bad, I like this stuff, I don't like that stuff, I hate these people, I love those people, they're the good kind, they're the bad kind. You create all these polarities and dualities. And I was going to say something else about that. I don't know where it went. So polarities, dualities, and overlaying thought on reality. And gosh, what was it I was going to say? Oh well. Must not have been important. So, you're just getting away from the credence that you give thought and believing thought. It just becomes like an air conditioner running in the background, which you don't pay attention to. And you're developing that focus. Now, to attain enlightenment, what you need to do is have 100% focus. You have to be 100% focused and 100% relaxed. 100% focused and 100% relaxed. And 100% relaxed is another way of saying totally releasing and letting go and surrendering. Right? So 100% focused, 100% relaxed. So your ability to place your awareness somewhere else is going to get more and more strong. It's a skill. And you're going to be able to go into crazy, wow, I feel like I'm aware of every molecule in my body and expansive, and it's just like everything just blew up, and I'm just awareness traveling through this universe, and every molecule is like a planet around me, right? And so you get really focused, 100% focused, and then 100% relaxed, just totally relaxed. And so first thing, focusing on something other than thought. Second thing, you're developing focus and relaxation. And then the third thing is just welcome death. Welcome death. And if you really want to be alive, you got to die. I haven't done it. I got to the door, and for whatever reason, I wasn't ready. I'm at peace with that. You know, it will be what it will be when it will be, and I'll get back to it when I get back to it. And if it ever happens, awesome. And if not, I've learned enough on this path that I feel deep, immense gratitude for everything that I've learned, the teachings, the perspectives, and the experiences I did have taught me enough. And even coming to the door of enlightenment taught me enough that I'm happy.